What's going on, everyone? This is Austin of Detailing S&S. My engine bay is not super dirty, but it is definitely dirty to my standards. And I will be cleaning the engine bay, getting some of the salt off, because I daily drive this in the winter. So I'm going to, if you have any leaves or light debris, go ahead and take your leaf blower, blow that out, and then cover up any electrical components. This is a 24 Mustang, so everything is completely covered, but don't sit there and flood like any electrical components like the fuse box. The battery's underneath there, so I don't have to worry about that. But any car alternators, you can cover those if you want. But pretty much everything 2000 and up for your model will be relatively water sealed on the engine bay. If you have an open air filter for your intake, make sure you cover that for sure with a plastic bag. I will be pre-foaming the car with 2 ounces of Green Star by Koshikemi. I'll also be using the Ridge undercarriage pressure washer for underneath, since I need to clean underneath the car. But the engine bay is not super bad. And yes, I do need to fill up my, but yeah, that thing's been slowly losing coolant for some reason, so don't know why. It's already been topped off twice by the dealership, so we shall see. And then I'm going to do the full exterior. The wheels are pretty dirty, doesn't pick up on camera. I don't do this on a customer's car, but on my car I will. And then the fender wells are pretty dirty as well. And then, of course, I took it through touchless wash just to get most of the grime off last week, but it is still dirty, quite dirty. So going ahead and doing a full deep clean underneath, engine bay, full exterior. So I will get to it and keep you guys posted on as I go. Alrighty, as I stated before, Koshikemi Green Star, 2 ounces in the foam cannon, and then you just go ahead and pre-cover it. Once you pre-foam it, it's not super thick foam, but that's not what you want. You want it to get down in the crevices. And then you just let that sit, rinse it off, foam it up again. And then I will be using a fender brush and a wheel face brush, and also a small brush to get in like little nooks and crannies. Not going super deep detail since it's still winter time if you can't tell, but just let the majority of the dirt soak, rinse it off, and then I will take Green Star again, but in a spray bottle. I already have it pre-diluted 1 to 5. I use it as floor mat cleaner. You can use it for your wheels, tires, engine bay. Just dilute it how much you need it. I usually leave it at 1 to 5 dilution ratio, which is the strongest that they recommend. But for really dirty floor mats, it comes in handy. Alrighty, so I just rinsed it off. As you can see, still a little bit of water protectant still on from the Motorplast, Koshikemi Motorplast I applied last summer. So that's been well over 10 months it's been since I applied it, and still see it's water beading on the plastics quite well. Didn't spray any on here, so you can tell the difference. It's not really water beading a whole lot there. Now I go ahead and go in with the spray. Just lightly mist it on the surfaces I'm going to mainly focus on. Of course, if you have a dirtier engine bay, it's best to foam it back on top of this, and then the dirtier areas And then with your pressure washer, you want to make sure you have a wide spray nozzle. So this is a 40-degree nozzle I have with a lance connected to the handle. And then you foam over this and then you start brushing. Alrighty, now that I have pre-sprayed, rinsed, and foamed it back up, now you can sit here all day long if you want to. I just focus on the main areas to clean. Make sure you get the nooks and crannies. But don't spend too long doing this, because you do not want this soap to dry. Again, I'll be doing this again here in probably a month, maybe 2. But I just don't like having salt spray sitting on the inside of the engine bay on my vehicle, personally. Some people, it's still quite cold where you're at, so you can always wait to do this, or you can do it sooner, more often. And then again, you don't want to be sitting there brushing electrical components. I know this hurts me as much as you using a brush on the paint, but you gotta clean it somehow. On the engine bay, it doesn't matter as much because you're not sitting there trying to keep the paint completely spotless, and you would never let it get dirty in the first place. And again, I sprayed protectant on it, so it's going to clean up much easier than without having any protectant on any of the plastics, hoses. And I'm out of the Kosh Chemie protectant. And if this is super dirty, you have to sit there and pressure wash it multiple times. But mine's not extremely dirty, but I still need to give it just a nice light brush. And then you'll rinse it and then spray protectant on. But I'm going to use CarPro Pearl at the 1-to-1 ratio just on some of the hoses to give it some protection. And then I'll eventually, in summertime, put a ceramic coating on the plastic here just to help keep it cleaner. But yeah, so now you just rinse everything. And you also want to make sure the engine bay is completely cool to the touch. I did not drive this today, so it is definitely a cold engine bay. Alrighty, now that you've rinsed it off, just lightly blow some of the water off, then spray whichever protectant you want on it, on the plastic, trim, and rubber hoses. Alrighty, so I lightly blew off everything, still kind of damp and water in areas. And then you'll just take whatever protectant you have or want to use, lightly mist it over what you want protected. Hoses, plastics, rubber seals, I coated these. And yes, there's still water pouring in from the hood, but it doesn't matter because you will come back and level this because it doesn't self-level the best. But you can go ahead and let that dry whenever you're cleaning the exterior. So now you just close the hood and then you continue washing your vehicle. And you will have soap overspray on sections depending on how your hood is. If it's super sunny and hot out, make sure you don't let that soap dry to the paint, because then that's a whole another issue. So in between foaming it, I went ahead and rinsed sections that had the soap on it. And now you just let that sit for probably an hour, and then you just lightly go over wiping it with a towel if you have any extra puddles of stuff.